In the heart of 18th century England, amidst the opulence of the aristocracy, lies a tale of love, betrayal and power. Welcome to the world of the Duchess. Hello and welcome, movie enthusiasts. And welcome to Usher Reacts. I am Keira and today, we delve into the captivating world of the Duchess. A period drama that takes us on a journey through the tumultuous life of Georgiana Cavendish, Duchess of Devonshire. At the center of this compelling narrative is Georgiana, portrayed brilliantly by Keira Knightley. A woman ahead of her time, Georgiana navigates the treacherous waters of 18th century English high society with grace and resilience. Set against the backdrop of lavish estates and extravagant balls, the Duchess paints a vivid picture of the social constraints and political machinations of the time. One cannot help but marvel at the exquisite costumes and lavish production design, which transport viewers to the height of Georgian England's aristocracy. The stellar performances by the cast, including Ralph Fiennes as the cold and calculating Duke of Devonshire, add depth and complexity to the characters. At its core, the Duchess explores themes of love, duty, and the struggle for autonomy in a society dictated by rigid social norms. From poignant moments of heartbreak to triumphant acts of defiance, the Duchess captivates audiences from start to finish. A chronicle of the life of 18th century aristocrat Georgiana, Duchess of Devonshire, who was revered for her extravagant political and personal life. Georgiana Spencer became Duchess of Devonshire on her marriage to the Duke in 1774. At the height of the Georgian period, a period of fashion, decadence, and political change. Spirited and adored by the public at large, he quickly found her marriage to be a disappointment. Defined by her duty to produce a male heir and the Duke's philandering and callous indifference to her, she befriends Lady Bess, but finds she is once again betrayed by her husband, who wields his power, with the three eventually living uncomfortably together. Against this background, and with the pressures of an unfaithful husband, strict social pressures, and constant public scrutiny, Georgiana falls passionately in love with Charles Grey, a rising young Whig politician. However, despite his ongoing liaison with Lady Bess, the Duke refuses to allow her to continue the affair and threatens to take her children from her. After a careless youth, Georgiana Spencer is delighted to be married off at 17 by her parents in 1774 to the Duke of Devonshire, one of England's richest and most influential peers. Although His Grace enables a lavish lifestyle in grand homes and privileged introduction to the highest society circles, it comes at a price. The Duke only cares for her as future mother of a male heir and punishes her failing in that respect severely, while enjoying serial adultery and ordering her to help raise his illegitimate offspring, without omitting her sole confidant Bess Foster. Even after the birth of a son, her indiscreet affair with rising politician Charles Grey is intolerable. 1772 England. Despite being at a carefree stage of her young adult life, which includes a friendship and possibly more in the future with Charles Grey, Lady Georgiana Spencer is more than thrilled to accept the marriage proposal of older William Cavendish, the Duke of Devonshire, regardless of the fact that they have only met twice. Georgiana is well aware that she has only two primary responsibilities as Duchess: one, to produce a male heir for the Duke; two, to be loyal to him. However, their marriage is not as she expects, where he pays more attention to his dogs than he does to her. Even their lovemaking is cold and clinical. As long as she doesn't fulfill that first responsibility, which seems to be difficult to achieve, their marriage will remain distant. That coldness, she is aware, includes infidelity on his side, which she tolerates in keeping to her second responsibility, especially as it relates to her public duties. As such, she decides to be fulfilled in other ways outside of her time with the Duke, which he, in an unspoken agreement, is not to intrude. Those outside activities, which make her a star among the elite, include fashion design, gambling, and surprisingly politics. It also includes a friendship with Lady Elizabeth Foster Bess, whose own marriage is in disarray, as her husband beats her and he has all but taken away their children from her. Georgiana and Bess act as each other's emotional support, which on Georgiana's side includes inviting her to live in Devonshire House with her and the Duke. As her marriage to the Duke deteriorates even further, Georgiana has to decide how far she will go, especially as it relates to Bess. And to Charles, who, as a young man, has political aspirations. If she can't have her cake and eat it too, she will have to make some difficult decisions with regard to the one she truly loves. Though adored by the people, the Duchess of Devonshire is not content to sit as a pretty figurehead. Determined to be a major player in affairs of state, she rises to the forefront of the Whig Party and helps usher in reform in late 1700s England. The one thing it seems she cannot do is win the heart of her husband. The movie explores the marriage, relationships, and passions of 18th century aristocrat Georgiana, Duchess of Devonshire. 17-year-old Georgiana Keira Knightley is delighted to have excited the notice of the much older Duke of Devonshire, Ralph Fiennes, and marries him amid high personal and family expectations. Unfortunately for Georgiana, the Duke is an undemonstrative and tight-lipped man, who is far more interested in his dogs than in getting to know his new wife. He does nothing to alleviate her wedding night fears and does his husbandly duty with few words and a noticeable lack of tenderness. He makes it clear at the outset to both Georgiana and her mother, Lady Spencer Charlotte Rampling, that it is Georgiana's duty to bear him a male heir in short order. Georgiana becomes the center of a glittering social circle, attended not only by the British noble elite but also by the political figures of the time. She uses her beauty, wit, charm, and social connections to advance the Whig Party, especially the policies and ambitions of a young nobleman, Charles Grey Dominic Cooper, with whom she socialized and to whom she was attracted before her marriage. She indulges her love of parties and gambling to the apparent delight of her peers, who joke that Georgiana is adored by all of England, except her husband. Shortly after Georgiana marries the Duke, he has a young girl brought to live with him and Georgiana. Initially shocked by his admission that the child is his illegitimate daughter, Georgiana soon takes on the role of the child's mother. In the meantime, Georgiana gives birth to 2 daughters, but fails to provide the Duke with the expected male heir. The Duke continues to have affairs with other women, while taking the cure at Bath in the hopes of being able to conceive a boy. Georgiana befriends Bess Foster Haley Atwell, whose husband, Georgiana is appalled to learn, beats and even tortures Bess. Because Bess has left the marital home, the husband refuses to allow her to see their 3 young boys. At Georgiana's suggestion, the Duke invites Bess to live with the Duke and Duchess in Devonshire. Some time later, Georgiana discovers that the Duke and Bess have begun sleeping together. When Georgiana confronts Bess, Bess begs Georgiana to understand that she is in the affair only in order to have the Duke pressure her husband to release her sons to her. When Georgiana demands that the Duke remove Bess from the house, he refuses. Bess remains in the house and her sons come to live with them. While Georgiana adores her children and is obviously a devoted and loving mother, she chafes at the presence of the Duke's lover and her sons. She explores her attraction to Charles Grey and finds that the attraction is mutual. She brings the situation to a head by proposing a deal to the Duke. She will not object to his continuing to have Bess live with them, if he will not object to her engaging in an affair with Grey. The Duke, not surprisingly, rejects the proposal, pointing out that he does not make deals, and that all of the power in the situation belongs to him. He upbraids Georgiana for failing in the two things that he demands of her: bearing him a male heir and remaining loyal to him. She is outraged by his attitude and refusal to break off his affair and flees from him. He chases her down and rapes her. After the rape, Georgiana appears at her social gatherings in a fog, alcohol-induced, until it is learned that she is pregnant. She delivers a boy. Having done her duty, Georgiana goes to Bath, where she finally consummates her passion for Grey. They live blissfully in Bath until the Duke arrives unexpectedly. He accuses of her of being indiscreet and demands that she drop Grey and return with him to Devonshire. He warns her that, if she does not, both she and Grey will be cut off entirely from their wealth and positions in society. Grey will lose his political position, and she will never see her children again. After the Duke leaves, Georgiana races back to Devonshire, realizing that she cannot live without her children. Bess and her children are still at Devonshire. Georgiana informs Bess and the Duke that she is pregnant with Grey's child. At the Duke's command, she moves to the countryside to await the birth. She delivers another girl, Eliza, and immediately is forced to give the baby up to Grey's family. Heartbroken, she returns to Devonshire, where she continues her social circle, but with none of the vivacity and verve for which she was known before. She remains at Devonshire with the Duke and Bess and their children until her death. After her death, the viewer is told the Duke marries Bess. After reading copious amounts of mediocre reviews for the Duchess, I wasn't expecting much from this film. However, from the first scene I was utterly absorbed. The film isn't just another period drama, it is an absolutely beautiful and heart-rendering tale of the tribulations faced by Georgian women. Georgiana, Duchess of Devonshire, who, although is the key character in the film as you can probably infer from the title, represents the situation of all women belonging to a patriarchal society, not just the aristocracy. Keira Knightley is exemplary in this role. Her facial expression tells more than a script ever could. I enjoyed her performance in Atonement, but this was in a whole new league. Ralph Fiennes was also excellent. My best advice is to ignore the critics and come to your own conclusion. My only negative criticism was the rapidity with which Georgiana bonded so intimately with Bess. However, I don't know enough about the social context of the time to really make a judgment. All in all, a deeply moving tale that shouldn't be neglected. As we conclude our exploration of the Duchess, it's clear that this timeless tale continues to resonate with audiences, offering a glimpse into the enduring power of love and the indomitable spirit of those who dare to defy convention. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the world of the Duchess. Until next time, happy viewing.